Hi, welcome back to part 4 of this 12-part series on how to land a high-paying job. In this episode, we're going to be covering leveraging character references, and my name is Jennifer Butterfield, your host, and I have this YouTube channel called Trial by Jennifer, and it was started as a means to create a personal finance platform on improving financial literacy and money transparency. And so I thought starting my channel with this YouTube series on how to land a high-paying job based on my own experience of increasing my salary. Today, I want to discuss a little bit about an overview of the series so far and what I've covered before we get into some of the highlights of leveraging character references. So in the first few episodes, we went over goal setting and how to identify the scope of what our objective is in the series, and moved into crafting an outstanding resume and utilizing AI prompts and tools and different engines to create a number of different templates that were industry specific. In our most recent episode, I covered one of my favorite topics, which is the power of negotiation and several negotiation strategies in determining what type of salary and how to get that salary in the preliminary aspects of a job interview and beginning negotiations for that. I am excited to talk about leveraging character references because there are a lot of elements that go into this topic, and I think it is increasingly important to consider these things before getting knee deep in the job search process. So I'm glad that we're talking about it earlier on in the series because leveraging character references can be a crucial element in helping land that high-paying job. So one thing I think it's important to do is define what a character reference is. So I provide their contact info to a hiring manager and say, yes, please contact this person. I feel confident that they would be able to speak on my behalf and answer any questions that you may have regarding my character, my work ethic, my personality. And this would be supporting evidence in reinforcing the positive impression that is outlined in my resume and my cover letter that is being submitted with my job application. And so how do I choose a character reference? So there are a number of different types of relationships that we have as candidates, and I think it's important to consider that a professional relationship is definitely an ideal candidate for a character reference. So I tend to suggest avoiding utilizing any family members or close friends because they obviously may have biased opinions and it's not necessarily professional. I think the only exception that this might be the case would be if you have experience working for a family company, but even still, I would highly lean on utilizing somebody in the company who maybe isn't your immediate family member or a family member of origin. Or utilizing someone who perhaps you know in a different capacity, like a fellowship organization or volunteer work or maybe an academic setting. And so keeping all of this in mind, I think that it is important to consider what type of job you are applying for. And so one of the things we talked about in crafting an outstanding resume was identifying these keywords and phrases in a particular job description and having that document mirror those phrases. And so that is going to carry on into this aspect of the job application process, because when considering what kind of a character reference you want to provide a hiring manager to speak on your behalf or answer questions about who you are, I think it's important to consider those key phrases that are highlighted in the job description and thinking back to a time where those components or duties or responsibilities were particularly highlighted in these interpersonal professional relationships. So if there is something in a job description that says reliability is important to this company and their work values, then I'm going to think of someone who has seen my best side and my reliability, somebody who has seen me show up every day on time and do the job that I am there to do, whether that might be in context of community service, or perhaps it's a previous work experience, or maybe it's an academic setting. So this is a great opportunity to brainstorm and write down a list of these people. Before contacting them, I think it's great to identify different people who might be best suited for different positions or different companies. And that way, this person isn't being bombarded with many different employers if you are really hustling the job search and applying for a multitude of different positions. Prior to reaching out, I think it's important to ask oneself, when was the last time that I spoke with this person? If it has been a while, it might be best to consider reaching out and asking if they could go to coffee or perhaps lunch, and sitting down and treating them to a meal and catching up with them and taking that time to ask them, hey, how are you doing? What's new in your life? It's been a while. And you can remind them during this time of some key experiences or memories that you may have of the time that you two have worked together or engaged in different professional activities together, and let them know, hey, I am in the job market right now, and it crossed my mind that you would be an amazing character reference. I know that taking somebody out to lunch when you may be unemployed is probably not the easiest burden to bear. And so it could be just as easy as picking up the phone. But I think making a direct attempt to contact this person, to not only ask them if they are comfortable providing a character reference for you, but also taking the time to catch up with them if you're not in frequent contact with them on a regular basis, or maybe it's been some time that's passed, and asking them how they're doing and genuinely taking interest in their lives, because again, they will be doing a favor for you in the sense that they will be providing supporting evidence to the elements of your resume and cover letter that are impressed upon a hiring manager. So in doing all of this, it is not only respectful of their time, but it is also being mindful of the fact that they may prefer to have a little bit of time to prepare, and as much information as you can provide them is so beneficial. So saying, I am applying to this company and this person may contact you. Let's talk a little bit about how to put together a character reference list. So there are a number of different ways to do it, but my best suggestion with this is to create a separate document that is available upon a employer or potential employer's request. And it provides a list of different character references that include their full name, their title, the scope of the relationship that you have with them. So if they're a professor, you can list the course that they taught you, and the year and the dates in which you took that course, and along with their phone number and email. And so I would even consider, if you were applying to different titles or different positions, maybe in the same field or maybe in different fields because you have a wide variety of work experience, creating different lists for different industries or different positions. I think it's so important to highlight, okay, this person has had my best experience in this area or with these job duties and responsibilities. And it's not beneath anybody to, in the conversation that you're having where you obtain consent from your character reference for a potential hiring manager to contact them, to remind them of particular experiences or memories that you have of the two of you engaging with one another that they may be able to speak to when they are contacted. And so I think it's important to consider jogging their memory and maybe providing a few examples or telling them specifically what elements are important to have them highlight for this particular job. So in conclusion of leveraging character references, I can't stress the importance enough of, number one, obtaining consent and doing so in a genuine and thoughtful way. Creating a diverse range of different references. So from mentors to former teachers to colleagues to people from volunteer and service opportunities. This can really help leverage your job search efforts and support a more holistic and well-rounded application that will help you stand out amongst other candidates in this highly competitive job market and ideally land you a high-paying job. And then lastly, being mindful about the way that these references are being presented to a potential future employer, providing them upon request and creating a separate list or multiple separate lists depending on what position or positions you may be applying for, and giving the person plenty of time to prepare so that you can have the best opportunity for that conversation going smoothly and as planned. Thank you so much for joining me for part 4 of this 12-part series on how to land that high-paying job. Again, my name is Jennifer Butterfield, and if you found this video helpful or any of the videos in this series, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment or like it. I love to hear your feedback. And next week, we will be covering episode 5, which is harnessing the power of networking. And I have some really exciting activities and ideas to harness the power of networking. And I'm very excited to share that with this audience. So I will see you all next week, and thank you again for tuning in.